As our citizens persevere through this challenge, we're renewing American unity, and we're replenishing American will, and we are witnessing new American valor each and every day. We see it every day. And this crisis reminds us that no matter how hard it gets, no matter what obstacles we must overcome, especially after going through this nightmare, this evil beast like me.
Welcome to the swamp.
I am your voice.
I am racist,
Terrorist. Antifa. Clean, cold. Tolerated.
water, big water, ocean water.
My button is bigger than yours and my button works.
China. Take a look at the oranges.
We're not going to own it. I'm not going to own it.
Trump is crazy.
Welcome to the swamp.
Quiet, quiet, quiet.
Dude, drop it. Of two of the most powerful people you've ever met, Jake Ugarata Kasparian.
Super powerful. Feeling very powerful today.
Yes. All right, maybe we're not that powerful, but still, okay. We do a show. It's a remarkable show. We're about to do it right now. And we're going to tell you that, Donald Trump having a little bit of trouble with his allies.
Not really.
On the home front.
So that story has a twist. And people need to be cautious because journalists are, in some cases, incredibly mindless, and they take bait without realizing that they're doing PR and messaging for bad faith actors. So we'll give you that story a little later.
Bad faith actors later in the show.
Yeah.
Okay. But so another super important story, guys. Biden reaches out to progressives. Was it good enough? What was it? Should you be happy? Should you be not so happy? So fascinating story, fascinating show. All right, fascinating audience. What we're gonna go to first, as usual, is TYT.com/go. Let's survive. I will survive. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Why? I was led to believe there'd be no singing on today's show. Can I see the thermometer? $83,098. What now? There's a very special announcement on Monday about this, but what I need to see is 84,000. Can I see 84,000? By the end of the segment, crazy, you say? Maybe, maybe not. Casper, go.
All right. So Donald Trump is thinking about reopening the economy on May 1st, which would be a little too soon, especially considering California has decided to extend its stay-at-home order to May 15th. Now, I say this because if Donald Trump were to prematurely open the economy back up in the middle of this pandemic, before we really have a firm grasp of the pandemic, we will see another surge. The number have widespread testing available. So this is something that Jim Acosta asked Trump about in one of his latest press briefings, and here's what he had to say.
How could the administration discuss the possibility of reopening the country when the administration does not have an adequate nationwide testing system for this virus? Don't you need a nationwide testing system for the virus before you reopen?
We have a great testing system. We have the best, right now, the best testing system in the world. But there are certain sections.
Right now.
There are certain sections in the country that are in phenomenal shape already. Other sections are coming online. Other sections are going down. And we, in addition to that, are giving out millions of tests. And every day we're doing it exponentially. We're picking up. And what we'll be doing in the very near future is going to certain areas of our country and do massive testing. It's not necessary, but it would be a good thing to have.
Okay, so none of that is true as usual. We have the best testing, not remotely true. We are unbelievably behind in testing. Let me give you guys an example of what South Korea does. And remember, the first case of coronavirus for us in South Korea were nearly the same day, okay? And South Korea immediately had testing all throughout the country. And they would then, once they got somebody who tested positive for coronavirus, they would then track everyone that they had contact with recently. They would go to their homes and provide a test kit for them immediately. They would check back in the next day with results and what they needed to do next. They did this for the entire country immediately. I mean, it was a stunning thing to behold. And they have very, very few cases. We lead the world. We're tripling the second country that has the second most amount of cases. I said that on Twitter, and of course the MAGA goes like, "Oh yeah, well, we're also triple the size." No, I'm pretty sure we're not triple the size of China. China is 4 times larger than us. So, and so our testing is literally months behind other countries like South Korea and Germany and some of the European countries. So the reason why that's so important is, again, South Korea contained it because they could trace it so much better. We're stabbing in the dark. We're like, I don't know who's got it. People already had it, don't have it anymore. We never found out about them. Who did they have contact with? Who now have it? It's spreading like wildfire. And then we have this buffoon come up and go, "We have the best testing in the world." That's what he says about everything. It's not remotely true. And no, you cannot go out and reopen the country without testing, because otherwise you're going to spread it again like wildfire. So whereas if we could do what South Korea did, then we can contain it if we go outside.
So let's hear what else he has to say.
Don't you need that, though, Mr. President, to make sure people are safe going back to work? You don't want to send people back to the workplace.
We want to have it, and we're going to see if we have it. Do you need it? No. Is it a nice thing to do? Yes. We're talking about 325 million people, and that's not going to happen, as you can imagine. And no, it would never happen with anyone else either. Other countries do it, but they do it in a limited form. We'll probably be the leader of the pack.
So that is the second time he said that we do not need widespread testing. And again, look, he's being pressured by the swamp surrounding him to open the economy back up, open the economy back up. That's all they really care about, because Donald Trump wants to get reelected. The only thing that he could turn to say that he's an effective leader is was the economy. And clearly the economy has been completely halted for good reason, because people should not be at work unless they're essential workers. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care about people's lives. I feel like he's begrudgingly following the advice of the medical experts, the adults in the room. But I'm concerned that eventually he's going to stop listening to them and he's going to give into the pressure by the business community that is really concerned about, of course, their bottom line as opposed to saving human lives.
So a New York Times columnist wrote that we can now dispense with the mythology of America being the greatest country on earth. And look, I don't put too much credence into New York Times columnists, but it's an interesting moment in time because I had the same sense at the same time. So a lot of you are going to be thinking, of course, wasn't this already obvious? But my point is, I think for the rest of the world, as this carnival barker's incompetence is on full display, and he's peacocking around, showing how absurd and ridiculous he is. I think people in this country even, but certainly outside the country, look at it and go, no, the days of those guys being the leader of the world appear to be over. They keep electing total clowns. It's become a sideshow. It's become a circus. And so there's no way that guy is the leader of the free world. Maybe Angela Merkel. Honestly, there's a lot of China is now incredibly powerful. More persuasively, power is now dispersed. America being the overwhelming leader, well, we need a leader. We need someone who's smart. We need someone who's competent. Instead, this virus has shown we appear to be among the most incompetent countries in the world in dealing with this pandemic. That's literal. We have the most cases by a significant margin. We're about to become number one in the number of deaths. And it's not an accident. That happened because we don't know what the hell we're doing. We have terrible leadership. We're behind in testing, behind in medical equipment, behind in ventilators, behind in every aspect of this. And it's literally killing us.
Well, let's talk about some of the members of the business community and what we're hearing from them pretty publicly and transparently about how Trump is failing. But there's a twist, so pay attention to that. So Trump allies are complaining that he is bungling his response to COVID-19. They're actually going on the record. In many cases, they're not trying to conceal what their identity is. And so one of those people is Stephen Moore. He is the person who Trump once nominated to serve in the Federal Reserve Board. And so he spoke to Axios and said some pretty critical things about Trump's attempts to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. He said, quote, "The next 48 weeks is really going to decide whether Trump gets reelected. If the administration mishandles its economic recovery efforts, Trump is in big trouble." So the key words here are economic recovery efforts, because that's what Stephen Moore and the swampy individuals surrounding him are most concerned about, right? The economic consequences of the decisions that Donald Trump makes. Never mind the fact that the Republicans pushed for and succeeded in accomplishing this insane bailout bill for massive corporations. Never mind the fact that we have a historic unemployment rate right now, and the stock markets are somehow miraculously doing incredibly well, considering the pain and suffering that average Americans are dealing with. These people want more. They want more. They want more. So let me give you more of what they're saying. Other conservative leaders, according to Axios, including former Congressman and Club for Growth President David McIntosh, said they worry that there isn't enough attention being placed on the longer-term post-coronavirus economic strategy. He was quoted as saying, "I don't think Mnuchin has yet started thinking about that long term. How do we incentivize the rapid recovery or the V-shaped bounce back? I understand their planning process to deal with emergency, but now it's time to start thinking about the exit strategy." So what they want to do is pressure, like just apply as much pressure as possible to open the economy back up, possibly get another stimulus bill that offers more goodies for their little wealthy friends. And it's this commentary is not about, oh, we're conservatives and we're concerned with how Trump has bungled the a coronavirus pandemic, the response to it, because people are dying. That is not their concern. Their concern is, well, what are you going to do to pad our pockets further? Because you're not doing enough. That's what the messaging is here. It's trash.
Yeah. So about the first thing that you mentioned, Anna, about how well the stock market did this week, it is an amazing phenomenon, and it's very telling. Because look, overall, the market is way down from its height, obviously, and coronavirus is by far the largest factor, but there are many factors. It was already overinflated. It was already a bubble. Coronavirus burst it, but it had underlying weakness. So, and we had told you about that earlier. But the reason why it bounced up this week, and it was actually, and a lot of the folks are celebrating, oh my God, best week since 1938. Yeah, that's because it was so far down. That's part of it. But the second part of it is because they know they're being taken care of. So no matter how bad the number of cases are, the number of deaths are in America, that's of less concern for the people who are trying to judge the value of the stocks, the businesses, the companies. Their job is to see, well, yes, but what are they going to get? And the answer is they're going to get a lot. Most of the recovery, as we've told you over the last couple of weeks, is going to big business. The overwhelming majority is. Small amounts going into small business, which is fantastic. That part is really good. The amount going to individuals, great, but it's small. And so the stock market is reacting to, no matter who gets killed and who dies, the government has decided the big winners are going to be multinational corporations. So that's why the market bounced back. But these guys are still concerned, not enough, not enough. There's no end to the greed. And one of my favorite lines was near the end. McIntosh says, this coronavirus, team that they have, it's fine, but they need to add outside business advisors for real world advice. Let me decode that for you. They need to add campaign contributors who are looking for an extra couple of $1 trillion to put into multinational corporations.
That's exactly right. He said that we need more business advisors, not government officials, quote, to give them that perspective of what matters in the real world economy. In the real world economy. Okay, we're talking about a stock market that's propped up, artificially inflated by corporate stock buybacks, by this stimulus bill, by basically these executives pouring money into their own stocks, right? Like that's what's been happening. And now it's on steroids. I mean, think about it. Think about how the economy is supposed to work, right? You're supposed to have companies that produce a product, like supply, demand, the thing that we keep hearing from these free market goons, right? Supply, demand. There's no demand because the unemployment rate is so insanely high right now. No one's making money. No one's buying product. How is it that the stock market is doing well right now when people are losing their jobs? They can't go out there and stimulate the economy because there's no money to stimulate it with. I mean, it's so ridiculous. So like the argument that no, we need more business leaders involved in this conversation so we can totally screw over the average American, the average worker, is just mind-numbingly frustrating. And then one other quote that I want to read to you guys, and it's from the Axios piece. It's the one person who was quoted without revealing his or her identity for obvious reasons. They say the following: red flags are going up. We understand that there is this sort of survival phase, but there's a concern that Mnuchin is overplaying that and not looking ahead. The emerging consensus is that the next phase needs to be about economic growth, not about making government bigger through massive spending and increased regulation that stifles the economic recovery. You know what? I agree with this individual. I really think that we need less government when it comes to this economic recovery, which is why I propose that the Federal Reserve stop printing money and giving it to these failing corporations that have provided nothing of value to society whatsoever. That's what I propose. Let's look for smaller government in response to this economic meltdown.
They're really amazing.
Trash.
After taking a couple of $1 trillion off the table from the government, with guarantees of $4 trillion more in loans coming from the Federal Reserve, they say, after that, well, we don't need the government anymore. Oh, the government's now looking to protect, like, maybe protect real people. We don't need government. And we certainly don't need government regulation. Why did he mention regulation? Because I want the government money, but I don't want the government safeguards. Because I want to be able to take the money and put it in my pocket and not have it go to my employees or do any of that stuff. Okay? So, I mean, the nerve of people to take trillions of dollars and then to say there should be no safeguards at all and we should deregulate because they believe in the free market. There is no free market capitalism where the government gives you $2 trillion to save your business. That's not free market capitalism. Anyone who says the opposite does not understand capitalism at all. So all those multinational corporations and the big banks, today they're all socialists. Tomorrow, when we want to find out what they've been up to, they're going to go back to being capitalist. Spare me. And the real world economy, are you kidding me? As Anna pointed out, the last 3 weeks, 16 million unemployed. That is the real world, okay? Not a couple of giant banks and a couple of giant oil companies. That's not the real world. Those things affect the real world, but the real world is us. It's actual human beings. But these guys don't give a damn about that. That Club for Growth is probably the top representative of the largest businesses in the country and in the world demanding more tax cuts and more favors for the business community. And paid for by whom? Me and you, the American taxpayer.
Exactly. All right, well, let's hear from actual average Americans, average voters, and what they're saying about their economic situation. Because I'm not really interested in listening to a bunch of like millionaires and billionaires from the Republican Party whining and crying about how they destroyed the economy, but they're not getting enough help, socialist help from U.S. taxpayers. What are average Americans saying? Well, a small rural town in Virginia, which overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump, is slowly but surely turning its back on the president because of his reaction and response to COVID-19. Now, the specific area is known as the Northern Neck or Northern Neck. And the report is actually pretty incredible because it talks to a number of people who rely on fishing, basically supplying seafood to restaurants. So they've been hurt hard by what's going on. And the reporter for this story, Jeff Newman, mentions how this area was just like littered with Trump signs. And now it seems like it's harder to find a pro-Trump sign in someone's front yard. So Newman writes, a recent letter to the editor printed in the Northern Neck News, a local newspaper, read, "Nothing has highlighted Trump's ineptness to lead more than the current crisis." Another piece accuses the president of sleepwalking and being tone deaf in his response to the global health crisis. Newman also writes a recent Centers for Disease Control mailer titled, quote, "President Trump's Coronavirus Guidelines for America," was widely mocked among locals here as nothing more than flimsy campaign propaganda, government instructions to help prevent the virus spread that Trump himself seems to undermine. And then I want to read just a few quotes before you jump in, Cenk. Cliff, who is a Chesapeake Bay waterman, was quoted as saying, and these are all people who originally supported Donald Trump. He said, "A few weeks ago, I could ignore the parts of his personality I didn't like. That's over. I don't believe anything he's saying now." Matt also said he also said, quote, "He's got no idea what the hell he's doing. And I think he's flat out lying to everyone about how bad it, meaning coronavirus, really is and how bad it's going to get." Cenk, jump in.
Yeah. So look, I've grown a little skeptical of the stories where Trump supporters turn on him because a couple of days later, they turn back. Right? So having said that, there's a real reason why this might be different. So a couple of times I've pinpointed stories where he really did get hurt, and then we went back later and showed you the polling to see that he really did. Like the withdrawal from northern Syria really hurt him with the military, and a lot of the service members then liked Trump a lot less because they felt like he abandoned our allies, the Kurds in northern Syria. Give you that as an example of something that actually did hurt him. So in this case, why would it hurt him? Well, he's so happy about the ratings of the press conferences that he's doing, and he's a showman. That's what he is. He's the leader of a three-ring circus, And so he loves the circus. He loves to go out. He loves to do his rallies. He can't do the rallies anymore. So he's doing the press conference. He's having tons of fun, talking about how he used to sleep with models, taking questions about Joe Exotic, and etc. And a lot of people are watching. He's right about that. But the problem is, normally his supporters have the news filtered through Fox News. So they'll take clips of Trump and they'll twist it to make it look like he's smart and he knows what he's doing. But when you watch Trump unadulterated for a long time every day about something you care about and you're worried about your family, and you go, wait, but I remember him saying 2 days ago that it wasn't that big a deal. Wait a minute, I remember him saying a couple of days ago this exact opposite of what he's saying now. And that happens over and over and over again until Matt and whoever else in Northern Neck turn around and go, that guy's lying, right?
Yeah. In fact, Matt said that Trump thinks we're all stupid and will show up for him no matter what, or will show up for him no matter what. At this point, I can't imagine bringing myself to do that. We need a guy like Cuomo handling this for the whole country. It's really bad up there, and he's being honest with people. So, yeah. Yeah,
so look, Cuomo made mistakes too. New York Times had an interesting article about that, and de Blasio made mistakes too. And look, folks do, and some of them were serious. You know, I'm before coronavirus, not a big fan of Andrew Cuomo. He's a very establishment Democrat, etc. Right? But the reason why the Matts of the world are saying that is because Cuomo, when he does his press conference, is a great juxtaposition to Donald Trump. He looks like a grown-up, and he levels with people. And so when things are bad, he tells them it's bad. And he doesn't try to dress it up so that he looks good. And look, people have a good enough sense of, if they're watching something for long enough, right, and unfiltered enough, of who's full of crap and who isn't. And you watch Cuomo and you go, yeah, I mean, that guy's leveling with us. You watch Trump and you're like, that guy's putting on a show, man. And one of the guys in that story said the same thing that I was thinking. He's like, well, look, I could put up with his antics before, but now it's serious. Exactly. Before, we're going to do this with Iran or not, I don't know. Iran's a long way away from us. I can't quite relate. Oh, there was a hurricane down in Puerto Rico. If you're a conservative, they're like, if it didn't affect me, it didn't happen. Don't care, right? But now it affects all of us, and it's about them, so they do care. Then they watch him for guidance, and they go, oh, wow, I didn't know he was that full of crap. Well, breaking news, he is.
When we come back from the break, luckily there was one instance of someone speaking the truth on CNBC, so we'll enjoy that clip and more when we return.
You're about to watch some behind-the-scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member. Go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind-the-scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show-like. tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey. Hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitzing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny Pie. I said it was live stream,
but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members.
Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent. Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
This is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. Referred to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
We're gonna do a little thing we like to call Weekly World News. Weekly World News! I cull stories from around the globe, stories that aren't covered on the main show or aren't covered enough, and I turn it into a 5-question quiz for Dave and Steve. All right, do we have our answers? A from Dave and C from Steve, and the correct answer is B, an oil tanker that sank off the coast of China. Okay, we have one answer of B and one answer of C. What is the correct answer? It is, of course, A, an airplane wing walking stunt gone wrong. Okay, we have an answer of A from Dave and C from Steve. The correct answer is B. We have an answer of B and C. What is the correct answer in true Weekly World News tradition? It's A.
Come on.
Taking the bear out for ice cream.
That can't possibly be true. We're terrible today. Just terrible.
When news is breaking and when you need Brett Ehrlich, it's time. When news breaks, when news is breaking and you like... When news is breaking and you need Brett Ehrlich, it's time for Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich.
Climate is changing fundamentally, extremely, and non-linearly. It's becoming worse now. It's not when the levees burst that is the problem. It's in the anticipation of that.
So I hope every human being is safe. And by human beings, I do not include multinational corporations, especially the ones that started climate change in the first place.
What we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough. There will be ramifications to what Trump is doing. I don't want people to suffer, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of suffering because we have an imbecile as our leader.
Back on the Young Turks. Janky Granick is spared with you guys. All right, so I'm so psyched that I figured out the aspiration deal, so I want to keep telling you guys. You sign up for a new account, aspiration.com/TYT. Boom, we plant 10 trees. Look, they don't call me 10 Trees Uger for nothing.
They call you that? I didn't know that was a nickname of yours.
Well, 2 packs, 10 trees. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Oh, so, and then when you use your aspiration card, if you round up, then plant another tree. So while you're buying trees, maybe plant a tree. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
I see you. I see you.
That's right. Maybe the TYT and aspiration.com/TYT stands for Tree Your Tree. Captain, oh Captain. All right, anyways, let's do comments. Okay.
Nailed it.
Anna's Margarita Salt writes in, had a lot of good comments recently. Trump's mindset is obvious. If we don't test people, the numbers can't be shown to be going up. That means my followers will think that we're the best, and that means I'll get reelected. It's all about Trump. He doesn't care about the citizens. I've been saying that from day one. That's why we don't have the testing kits in America, because the clown of all clowns did not order more testing kits, because he figured, well, if people don't know they have it, then the markets won't crash and I'll get reelected. Oops. Gabby Marita said about opening up to markets again, dead people make pretty terrible customers. Agreed? The Mathematician says Stephen Moore is a monster. This is a guy who said that you don't want to cover people who are sick because, quote, you wouldn't insure a broken car, would you? It amazes me he's still on television. Well, the last part's not amazing, of course. They're like, oh, you're a monster who only favors businesses over real human beings. You're welcome on every cable news station there is. So that part I'm not surprised by. But thank you for being members, guys. TYT.com/join, okay? If you're watching on YouTube, just hit the join button down below. On YouTube Super Chat, Luminia M says, love you, Jenk and Anna. Hello, love you right back. And last comments from Twitter, it's Eclectic Mistralania. And he writes in, I wish the Wharton School had the best testing in the world. They would have flunked Trump's ass in every class he had, never given him an economics degree, and maybe he would have never become the failed businessman and failed president that we all have to deal with now. Well, that's all true, but then one wonders if I would have gotten out of Wharton. So it's a mixed bag. All right. TYT.com/go. Let me check the thermometer before we go. Let me see it. We were trying to get to 84, and we didn't quite get there, but we still have time. Can we see 85 by the end of the show? $83,787. TYT.com/go. Keep hope and TYT alive. Casper, go.
All right. Never thought I would be saying this in the intro to a story, but a former Facebook CEO and the founder of Social Capital did something extremely hot on CNBC.
You keep saying propping up zombie companies. Are you arguing to let airlines, for example, fail?
Yes.
Why? I mean, how does that make sense in the broader scheme of the economy?
Because it's not, because when you look at what it means, this is why I'm saying, like, this is a lie that's been purported by Wall Street. When a company fails, it does not fire their employees. It goes through a packaged bankruptcy, right? If anything, what happens is the people who have the pensions inside those companies, the employees of these companies, end up owning more of the company. The people that get wiped out are the speculators that own the unsecured tranches of debt or the folks that own the equity. And by the way, those are the rules of the game. That's right, because these are the people that purport to be the most sophisticated investors in the world. They deserve to get wiped out. But the employees don't get wiped out.
I just want to hear him talk about tranches all day. Like that was incredible honesty that you just don't get on CNBC. And you know, there are people on social media who are like, "Oh, but Robert Reich has been saying this for..." Yeah, I get it. But no one gets to say this on cable television as honestly and frankly as what we just heard. And by the way, we're not done yet. There are two other clips I want to show you.
Okay, so I know Chamath just a little bit, okay? And he's a great guy, and he's generally progressive. And his company actually funds companies that are doing good in the world. That's why it's called Social Capital. So they're great businessmen. He's among them. But he's also a real capitalist. So a lot of the left wing agrees with him completely. But if you're a real right wing or a real believer in capitalism, you would have jumped out of your chair and gave him a standing ovation for that. I mean, are we capitalists or are we not? So the whole point of capitalism isn't the government comes and saves you. It's you sink or swim. So now, look, I think that there are circumstances where I'm not even sure I'd agree with Chamath, and it depends on the situation, right? So I'm less of an ideologue. But if you are a right-wing ideologue, you love what he just said. The government shouldn't be bailing out people at all in those circumstances. But the part where I really agree with him is, look, airlines are going to exist no matter what. The question isn't whether that's going to happen. It's not like the airlines that currently exist went out of business. Oh, well, we can't fly anymore. No, the pensions are protected. There's laws around that. That's why you need the government to protect you. And then new companies would start immediately with new investors. But the people who would really be hurt in the airline, these current airlines going under, is the old investors in those. And Chamath is making the point of, wait, why is it the government's job to protect investors? That doesn't make any sense at all. It's a fair and interesting point.
Yeah, it's definitely a fair and interesting point. And keep in mind that the one thing that I wish he would have mentioned is how some of these airline companies that are getting bailed out took advantage, of course, of Donald Trump's tax cuts and paid nothing in federal taxes. Nothing. So for them to get bailed out is just so incredibly insulting to the average American worker for every reason, including the fact that the average American worker pays more in federal taxes than some of these airline companies have. But anyway, there's more of what he has to say, so let's take a look at the next clip.
Why does anybody deserve, using your word, to get wiped out from a crisis created like this? How does anybody deserve to get wiped out?
Well, but just be clear, like, who are we talking about? We're talking about a hedge fund that serves a bunch of billionaire family offices. Who cares? Let them get wiped out. Who cares? They don't get the summer in the Hamptons. Who cares?
I mean, there are people. You don't think the employees?
Hold on, Scott.
You don't think the employees of these companies
own
stocks? I mean, own their stocks, own the company's stocks?
You can look on Bloomberg and you can see what percentage of these companies are typically owned by. These things are owned by BlackRock. These things are owned by these huge, amorphous organizations. Ultimately, downstream, and the employee owns a few $100s or a few thousand.
And he's right about that as well. 84%, a whopping 84% of the stock market is owned by people who are incredibly wealthy, the top 1%. So when people bring up how the stock market taking a hit hurts average Americans, understand that is meant to deceive people. It's not about protecting the average American worker and their investments or their 401k. It's all about making sure that the portfolios of these millionaires and billionaires continues to look good. It's not about looking out for the working class at all. It's such a ridiculous argument.
Yeah, so I love that he exposed how finance actually works in just that quick segment there. So look, I'm a guy who does nuance. So are there good hedge funds? Yes. Are there bad hedge funds? Yes. So, and there's a range, same thing with venture capital and private equity, and some are better than others. But the way that the system works overall is that if you follow the money all the way back to its original source, it's actually these giant families that have the money from accumulated wealth, lots of European families, Americans, etc. And they put money into private equity companies and then to venture capital companies, also separately to hedge funds. Hedge funds mainly do stock market. Venture capital mainly does startups and small businesses. So there's a huge range here. But basically what Chamath is saying is, if you follow the money all the way back, it's those big billionaire families. Some of them invested in the right things. Some of them invested in the wrong things, including airlines in this case. Mm-hmm. So why are we picking favorites among billionaires? And that's in essence what we're doing when we're propping up failed large businesses, as opposed to what he talked about earlier in the segment, which was Main Street, small businesses and actual human beings.
So I want to be precise about the numbers that I shared with you all. So I pulled up the article that I was referring to about who owns the majority of the stocks. And so I tweeted it as well if you want to read it for yourself. But 84% of all stocks owned by Americans belong to the wealthiest 10%. And that includes everyone's stakes in pension plans, 401ks, trust funds, mutual funds, college savings, and programs like 529 plans. So again, it overwhelmingly benefits the wealthiest people in the country. But we're not done yet. There's one more clip. Let's take a quick look at that.
Why does anybody deserve to get wiped out? Wouldn't that be immoral in and of itself?
No, because what's happening right now is what I'll tell you is on Main Street today, people are getting wiped out. And right now, rich CEOs are not. Boards that had horrible governance are not. Hedge funds are not. People are. 6 million people just this week alone basically saying, holy mackerel, I don't know how I'm going to make my own expenses for the next few weeks, days, months. So it's happening today to individual Americans. And what we've done is disproportionately prop up and protect poor performing CEOs, companies, and boards. And you have to wash these people out.
Well, we're going to continue the debate another day, Chamath.
They're not going to continue the debate. I'd be shocked if he was invited back again. But that was personally, that was my favorite part. How the host is like shocked, like, oh, isn't this a question of morality? Oh, were you asking that question when all those Americans had their homes taken away, foreclosed on because of the predatory lending that was happening at the big banks? Were you worried about the moral question there? Probably not. Probably not. There's never any question about whether or not an individual American deserves to go through bankruptcy if they were irresponsible with their money. No one ever raises that question, right? No one ever questions, hey, Is there a lifeline that we can offer this person so they don't lose everything? Isn't there a moral question here when we have a shocking number of senior citizens going bankrupt because of their medical bills? Isn't it shocking when you consider the fact that 60,000 people in LA County alone are living on the streets? Isn't there a moral question there that maybe we should go ahead and explore a little bit? And by the way, that was before the pandemic. They never asked those questions because they don't care about you. That host on TV does not care about you, period. The ruling class in this country, both Democrat and Republican, they don't care about you. They care about themselves, they care about their wealthy buddies, and we sit here and we debate about nonsense every day to no end because we're constantly distracted by complete and utter BS. While again, the ruling class continues to screw us over. That's the situation we're dealing with. They don't care if we're living on the streets. They don't care if our children are dying. They don't care if we don't have health care. None of them care. It's time to wake up and realize that.
I love a CNBC anchor talking about a moral component to something. 16 million people unemployed. I can't see the moral issue there. But my God, a couple of billionaires are going to get washed out of their investments. Isn't there a moral question here? My God, man, have you no morality? Do you not care about those couple of billionaires? So to Anna's point, when the middle class was getting wiped out through foreclosures in 2008, every CNBC anchor said, well, hey, they shouldn't have taken on that debt. They shouldn't have taken on that mortgage. That was a moral failing of theirs. Well, I guess the billionaire investors who invested in the wrong companies shouldn't have made those investments. So isn't that a failing of theirs? Shouldn't they have to deal with that? And look, guys, again, I'm doing nuance. It doesn't mean that we want all those companies wiped out. And it depends. Is it a small business? Is it not? Is it a private business? Is it a public company? Who actually holds the majority of the stock, the shares? These things are all relevant. But Chamath shaking them up, and I love that he snuck in there because he's a CEO and he's a real businessman. He's a very, very successful businessman, right? But they're like, he's a CEO, he'll be good. Yeah, now tell everybody the billionaires deserve everything. What? He said that the billionaires don't deserve everything. This guy's immoral. We got to get him off. So maybe I can get on there as Young Turks CEO. But one last thing, as I was watching Chamath there, I thought, do we have a new Andrew Yang? And he's even got math in his name. Do the Chamath.
Don't insult him. I do want to show you one other thing that really helps to visualize what we're dealing with in this country. It's just a screen grab from one of Kramer's shows, recent episodes. It shows in a graphic behind him, the Dow's best week since 1938. And then there's a lower third that says more than 16 million Americans have lost jobs in 3 weeks. Okay, so wow, the Dow's doing really well. The stock market, where 84% of it is owned by the top 10%, doing real well. 16 million Americans out of a job, lost their health care, lost their benefits. But hey, who cares? The Dow's doing really well. It's just a perfect juxtaposition.
Yeah, that one screen grab shows you where the stimulus bill money went to. It didn't go to those 16 million folks. It went straight into the top companies and the financial world. And that's why the stock market's like, oh, all those people are out of work. Who cares? We just got trillions of dollars. Do the Chamath.
Ah, Jink. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
You know, old school's pitched to me from Jank. It'll just be me, you, Jesus, Ben, and maybe Michael. And we're like, okay, cool. I can do that every week. As you can see, me, Jesus, Ben.
When you make the order, it says, don't exceed $20.01. So I'll just order literally anything to get it as close to that as I possibly can.
I'm sorry that I ordered $45 worth of food and got an email saying, sir, would you like to rethink that? What are you talking about?
I was in hell.
I was just like, oh my God, the theater's empty, nobody's here. Everyone on screen keeps f***ing cursing. Why did I let this happen? And the whole thing looks like it was shot through a glass of milk. My mom's gonna be so mad.
If you're looking for a heart attack, the short way, baby.
Wrong. I did put mayonnaise on it. I'm the most in shape, overweight person you'll find.
That's right.
He was like, why didn't you answer my call? I called you 39 times.
Yuck.
But what makes you stop right before 40? You know, what makes you say, nah, man, I ain't doing that no more. I'm cool.
And I called you back on the air. And I was like, okay, Kevin Smith, big shot. What the f***? You said you'd come on and you didn't come on.
I'm sure I took that very well.
Yeah, you did. You called me back the next day and said, I thought it was 7 a.m. There's now deep fake porn. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
I heard of it. I just had some in the car.
I'll tell you who I'm not f***ing, Ben Mankiewicz. Have you guys ever felt that?
Not ever.
And now it's just the three of us.
This is the intimate hour.
By the way, the last half hour of this, we're not even rolling.
Fair enough.
Kingsley.
See, I watch movies.
I'm done with both of you.
Once Greg starts laughing, I can't stop. And I was just gonna ask you about getting high.
Snoogans, Snoochie Boochies.
And members, of course, you can get the whole damn thing. TYT.com, join, and free trial. I'm old school with the old folks.
Good
John, come back.
Field goal here. It's time to switch to music.
Oh, God.
Do your best.
He's a little like...
Oh. No one's happy now.
Give him another try.
Oh! Wow.
This is the weirdest game.
I'm Brett. I would like to refer to this segment as the Do I Still Have This Talent show. So I want to see if I can play harmonica without my hands. I don't know why I have that. Nothing's gonna be more impressive than that. I can also spin a basketball on my finger. While drinking. I'm gonna spin a basketball on my finger while drinking apple juice. You can do this, dude. It's also flat. I don't know if that helps or hurts. And it seems to be somewhat wobbly. Ta-da! Nope, I don't know how to do this one. This one's a fail. Nope. Oh God, I'm so mad.
All right, back on the Young Turks, Cenk and Anna with you guys. All right, let's see. I was trying to get to 84,000. I got a little ambitious trying to get to 85. I don't know if that's going to happen, but let's take a look at the thermometer. This is sustain the Young Turks in very, very hard times. TYT.com/go. Can I see it, Brett? Oh, no, we're $4 short. $83,996. All right, let's see if we can get that $4 going here. Meanwhile, let me read comments. Lemons Are Great writes in, wait, did he say Wall Street lies? It's ringing in my brain still. Say it again, but this time, let me get wine. There's a lot of comments like that. I'll read a couple more. Cerberus Alpha, Proud Anobro says, wow, so that's what real news looks like on CNBC. Talk about must-see TV. Shema 2024. I told you it's begun. Okay. Pocket in a Pocket says, that was hot. Is this guy single? Asking for a friend. By the way, there's agreement in the studio about that too. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, okay. And that's all of our members. TYT.com/join to become a member. In fact, we've got a post game today for you guys. They're still attacking so-called Bernie bros. There's new Biden bros. And of course, African Americans are getting targeted during coronavirus. So what's new? But all of that's for our members. TYT.com/join or the join button underneath the video on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, last one, YouTube super chat. Torn Tokoroa says, "That was so hot, I needed water." Good clips.
Big water from the standpoint of water.
Yeah, on Twitter, there's a lot more where that came from, by the way. So Chamath's burning up the internet.
Yeah.
All right, Anna.
A few other announcements. So on today's show, we're obviously going to do our post game, but after the post game, you should check out Happy Half Hour. That's Brett Ehrlich's show, and it's awesome. It's just a fun take on the news. So tune in for that. And if you're a member, you can watch whenever you want because you have access to our archives. Go to tyt.com/join. He's going to have his wonderful, beautiful wife, Amber, on to discuss how she's been, by the way, helping to make sure our show runs every day. So definitely watch that. And then I just found out that Michael Brooks and I will be interviewing David Sirota tomorrow for Jacobin. And that'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific on Jacobin's YouTube page. So if you're interested in checking that out, definitely do so. But with that said, we have some more stories. You want to get to it, Cenk?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You know what? I think it's important to talk about Biden. So I'm sorry. I know I changed my mind last minute, Brett. Can we do that instead? And we'll do Kudlow in the post game. So
As he's pulling that up, can I just say, I'm also interviewing Nomi Prince today about where the bailout money went. It's going to be, and what does the Fed actually do? What does it mean that they print money? Who do they give it to and what happens? Don't miss that interview. It's actually going to be, running the interviews now before the main show. Normally the show starts at 6 o'clock Eastern, but throughout the week, come actually at 5:30 Eastern, and you'll see the conversation before the regular show. Okay, so that's all next week, and Nomi Prince will be on Monday. All right, go ahead, Anna.
All right. In order for Biden to win and prevent Donald Trump from getting reelected, he needs to appeal to the progressive voters who originally supported Bernie Sanders. And in an effort to do that, in his first attempt at an olive branch, he has released his proposal to expand Medicare, which sounds good, right? And to forgive some student loan debt. Now, I'm going to give you the details and then we can discuss whether or not it goes far enough. For instance, Biden would lower the Medicare eligibility age to 60 from 65 to forgive federal student debt for low-income and middle-class people who attend public colleges and universities, historically black colleges and universities, and underfunded minority-serving institutions, MSIs. So that's a good summary of what he's proposing. And there's already quite a bit of critique as to whether or not this goes far enough. I would just like to start off with focusing on Medicare, and then we can talk about what he wants to do with forgiving student loan debt. So lowering the Medicare age from 65 to 60, even if you don't do any research and see how much of an impact it's going to have, you can already tell that it's an incredibly incremental proposal that isn't going to benefit the vast majority of people who desperately need health care coverage that they can't afford. But before I give you some numbers, Cenk, I wanted you to jump in.
Yeah. Look, I was looking forward to what they were going to propose because I know it was to some degree negotiated. So I thought maybe this will be a good deal and something that progressives can get excited about. I have to be honest, it's really a tiny start. And if they leave it at this is clearly insufficient. If they're just starting and this is among the concessions, okay, let's see what else you got. But for now, as we're going to break it down here, it's really not much.
So going back to Medicare and how much of an impact lowering the age from 65 to 60 would be, I thought that this take was interesting in Jacobin. So they write, 55 to 65-year-olds have the highest median incomes, and 60 to 65-year-olds have the highest household wealth. For the median worker, the period immediately before retirement represents the peak of their earnings and wealth. Biden unveils this plan in the midst of a pandemic-induced recession that has kicked millions off their health insurance, with a recent poll finding 35% of those under 45 have lost healthcare coverage. And so I did a little digging to see, like, what are the numbers? Like, what is like the peak wealth, and how much of a difference is this going to make? And so if you look at people in the age range of 55 to 64 years old, they earn, and this again is broken down by the median number, $1,099 per week, or $57,148 annually. But if you look at, let's say, the 25 to 35 year age range, you'll see that the weekly income is $837, whereas the annual income is $43,524. I give you those numbers because it shows you that the age groups that stand to benefit the most from a widely expanded healthcare system, Medicare system, are younger individuals, not people at the very top, but of the age range. And I'm not saying that because I don't think people between the age of 60 to 65 deserve Medicare. I just think that that age range needs to be lower. There needs to be a larger group of people included in that in order to make a difference. It needs to be more inclusive.
Yeah, so I'll give it one piece of credit and then a couple of critiques. Look, anytime you're expanding Medicare, that's a good thing. And the more people that have it, one, we save lives. And two, more people get used to it and go, it's actually really good. And I don't know. And then people start to look forward to it at 58 rather than at 63. So it's slightly going in the right direction. Now, why is it only slight? Number one, this is Biden's opening proposal. By the time he negotiates with Republicans and is done with it, first of all, he'll get nothing. But second of all, if he got something at all, it'd be, okay, people that are 64 are covered. Right. Number two, Biden has a hard time energizing young people, not old people. And so here he's doing program mainly for older folks. Now, the student debt helps younger folks, so that's good. But that leads to the final problem, both for the student debt and the Medicare. This is very piecemeal, and you have to really, really focus to see if it applies to you. When in reality, when you have programs that are universal in nature, Medicare for all, or student debt is relief for everyone, then everyone gets excited and they think, oh, it applies to me. I can't wait to go out there and vote for that guy. If all you cared about was politics, even putting aside policy, that's why the universal programs are much better than these bureaucratic messes where in the student debt relief, it applies to that college, but not that one, and that age bracket, and that income bracket, etc. It's hard to get excited about that. So not great politics and just mediocre policy as a start.
Right, exactly. And the debt forgiveness does not extend to people who went to for-profit colleges or to people who went to trade schools. I think it needs to be universal in order to gain mass appeal. All right, our post-game show is next for our members. We're going to talk about a number of stories, including Meghan McCain. So don't miss that. Become a member. Go to tyt.com/join. For everyone else, have an awesome weekend. We'll see you soon.
All right, back on the Young Turks postgame. JQ Granik is pairing with you guys. Already, we're going to check in on the thermometer because already we're having fun. We were trying to get to 280 to 85,000 for the month. It's ambitious, but that's how we roll. We roll ambitious. So let's do the math and see what we got. 84,799. So close to 85. But we did get over 84, so you guys are already awesome. But can I see 85 by the end of the postgame, or is that a little too ambitious? We're going to find out. We're going to show it to you at the end. All right, Casper, you got a lot of stories. That's how you
I
roll.
do. Let's start off with, actually, there's like a ton of people I hate in the stories today for the postgame. So that'll be fun.
Perfect.
Let's start off with one of the people I hate the most, Larry Kudlow. So White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow, who constantly seems like he's boozing before he does these segments, was on Charles Payne's Fox Business show to talk about how cool it is to work. Let's take a look.
I think in recent years, the extraordinary increase in jobs and employment has really made folks come back to work.
Millions.
It's like for a whole bunch of years, you could see it in the labor numbers. People didn't want to work. And I think, if I may, it's cool to work. Your neighbor, your brother-in-law, the guy down the street. Working has become cool again. If you looked, one of my favorites was the millennials, the youngsters. Their participation rates and their job increases were phenomenal before this virus came in. And you know me, I also think work is a virtue, and I think work is a godly virtue as well. But I believe it's been cool to work, and people are going to want to come back and work.
I agree.
I didn't know that getting drunk before doing a cable news segment was work, but apparently he thinks it is, and he thinks it's very cool.
Yeah. So, look, I don't know if he's intoxicated, but it doesn't matter. That's intoxicated or not. He says the same crazy stuff.
Cenk, what was that? What is he talking about?
No,
I think it's really cool to work. And like millennials, they didn't want to work before. But what is he talking about? We're in the middle of a pandemic. People are not working right now because they literally can't. A bunch of people just got laid off from their jobs, lost their health care. What is he going on about? What is that?
No, I'm going to explain it. It's got a lot of different components, okay? It's very sophisticated. It's not, but look, that segment was actually really telling. So number one, for folks like Larry Kudlow who already have wealth, they really think that work is optional. And so they project onto people who don't have a lot of money their attitude, which is, well, look, I'm trying to convince you to go back to work because and that's why I'm telling you work is cool. You should try it. When he's so disconnected from the average American. The average American isn't going to work because it's cool. He's going to work because he needs a goddamn job. Because he doesn't have money. He's got to put food on the table. He's got to pay the rent. He's got kids. Then I go to work because it's cool. I hope they have a cool job. I hope they, enjoy their work and get fulfillment. But that's not that's great if you can get it. But in the real world, work is not optional. But in their world of incredibly rich people, work is optional. And so that's why they assume when unemployment numbers go up like 16 million, that people chose not to work, and he's trying to encourage them to get back to work. You idiot, they got fired. It's not like they decided 16 million people all of a sudden decided not to work anymore because it wasn't cool. And then the second part of it is, and this one's a little bit more speculative, but I feel like he kept using the word cool over and over again and then went into godly, etc., because he's talking to an African-American host. And so maybe he thinks there's an African-American audience watching Fox Business because the guy's black. And so he's like, guys, I'm telling you, it's cool, man. It's cool to go back to work. And, and it's also godly, work is a virtue, godly, for those of you who go to church, right? Amazing. Amazing. They don't know anything about the
people who are working, as we talked about yesterday, the people who are working right now, the essential workers, I'm pretty sure they're not at work because they think it's cool. Okay, I think that most of them, especially because a lot of these essential workers are not making a lot of money, they're working because they literally have to, even if it puts their own health or life at risk. Okay, like it's just the nonstop insults that come from people like Larry Kudlow and his ilk. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Okay, like. Listen to how he thinks of average people. He thinks we're all lazy. He thinks that we don't want to work, that we just want to like suck on the teat of government programs. Like, get the hell. It's just, like, at what point is America as a country going to wake up and expect more from people who are supposed to serve us in government? He's an economic advisor, and he thinks the vast majority of Americans are lazy mother effers who don't want to work. And so he's got to sell it as being cool to get people. I mean, how many years have we been talking about the lack of quality in the jobs that are out there? That people have to like piece together several different jobs just to make ends meet for their families. Yeah. It's just, I'm just sick of it. I'm just tired of it. Like, I'm tired of having to deal with these buffoons and these clowns every single day. And basically watch what they say and analyze what they say as if they have anything interesting, informative, or valid to say.
Yeah, here's who I don't need to get lectured to about work and the value of work. A guy who just came back from a 3-martini lunch. So
told you.
Okay, so first off, even Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe, and she's not one to do this, and it's mainstream media. They don't normally do this, but she's like, no, he's drunk. He's definitely drunk. And so now, again, I don't know, but I do know that Kudlow appears that way all the time on television, and I know how hard my job is, and I couldn't do it while, throwing down 3 martinis at lunch, breakfast, and wherever else. So he lives a life of luxury, which goes to my main point. It reminds me of what it was like before the French Revolution, really, where the elites are so removed from the rest of us that they have these fantastical ideas in their heads. So when Marie Antoinette said, well, let them eat cake when they were asking for bread, it's the same thing when Kudlow's like, oh, 16 million people are out of work. Oh, it turns out they're lazy and they don't want to go to work. But if we made it seem like work is cool, maybe they'll go back. No, they have no money. They have no money. They just got fired. You buffoon, you idiot. And most importantly, you elitist snob who is setting policy for America. You think that guy's going to look out for you? No, he's going to look out for the richest people in the country because those are his friends. Those are the people he knows and empathizes with. He doesn't understand your life at all. That's Trump's top economic advisor.
Yep.
Wow.
No, it's fitting. It's fitting. That's exactly what you should expect with Trump, and who would advise him. All right, well, let's go back to Democrats and what they're up to. So Brianna Joy Gray was the national press secretary for Bernie Sanders. And what's interesting now that Sanders has dropped out of the Democratic primary is the way that she's being treated by establishment types, individuals, private citizens who support establishment types, because these are the very people who claim that they were turned off to Bernie Sanders due to his toxic fan base, due to the behavior of Sanders supporters online. But they never take a mirror to themselves and question whether their own behavior is a little toxic. So recently, Brianna Joy Gray shared some photoshopped images that these people have been sending her. On Facebook, she wrote, thinking about how Biden supporters immediately photoshopped these images of me as essential workers in an effort to demean me, and what it says about how much they actually care about working class people. Anyway, keep fighting and don't take your moral guidance from those folks who treat working people as a punchline. And then in that post, she shared some of the examples, including Brianna Joy Gray photoshopped as a trash collector, and one other image of her photoshopped as a McDonald's worker. Now, obviously, these are essential workers. These are people who dutifully do their jobs. They contribute to society. There's no reason to ever insult them in any way, shape, or form. They deserve to get paid more. But obviously, some of Biden's supporters don't think that they're a valuable part of society, which is why they decided to try insulting Brianna Joy Gray by photoshopping her into these types of images.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to the punchline in a second, but apparently Biden hasn't apologized for his Biden bros.
When is he going to apologize?
Yeah,
when is he going to condemn this disgusting behavior? He is responsible for this. He is fostering this type of political climate.
And it's not one person. And I've seen it myself way before those particular pictures. I don't know anyone these days attacked online as much as Brianna Joy Gray is. Congratulations, Brianna. You passed me. I
mean, look, I understood the importance of preventing Donald Trump from getting reelected, but then I saw how vicious Biden supporters were on social media, and then I questioned, is it really? I mean, that's the kind of commentary we heard from these types of people throughout the primary, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I really like Bernie Sanders. I really do. I like the policy proposals that he's putting forth. But some random anonymous people on Twitter have been using snake emojis against Elizabeth Warren, and that really turned me off. So I'm going to go ahead and not vote for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to punch myself in the face and deny myself the policies that I like because the mainstream media told me that randos online represent Bernie Sanders. Now, what's interesting is all of a sudden the mainstream media doesn't think that of Joe Biden. So when thousands of his supporters attack Nina Turner, David Sirota, Brianna Joy Gray, and you name it, all of a sudden they aren't Biden bros, and that toxic behavior online doesn't matter at all. It's amazing how that works, and they can't see that bias. All right, now the next part is, so what's the punchline here? Well, the punchline for the folks who are making fun of Brianna Joy Gray is, now you're out of work because you thought you were going to get a position of power and privilege in the Bernie Sanders administration, but you're not. We're going to get the jobs in the Biden administration, and you're going to be a garbage worker or a McDonald's worker. So let's break down the two components of that. Number one, how are they any different than MAGA guys, the worst Trump supporters, making fun of AOC for being a bartender? I'm not sure I see any difference at all, okay? And then number two, the people attacking Brianna Joy Gray are actually worse than the elites in a sense, because they're the saddest people in America. They're the people who are kissing the ass of the elites to try to get the crumbs off their table. And so when they see someone strong and proud like Brianna or Nina, oh, that gets under their skin. You know why? Because it embarrasses them. They thought that, hey, we're all bootlickers, right? We got to do what we got to do. God damn it, she won't, comply. She actually has her own opinion, and she's strong and independent. That embarrasses the rest of us. Let's make fun of her and call her a garbage worker. Oh my God, if that's your life, you're the saddest person alive, because you don't even get the advantage of being an elite. You don't get the money. All you get is a tiny little pat on the head that they give from you and a little job so that, you can, make a living and feel good about yourself and feel like you have a tiny bit of power and privilege. So sad.
And by the way, I mean, you're mentioning random people on Twitter who are going after her and photoshopping her in this way. But there were former Hillary Clinton staffers who did something on the day that on the day that Bernie Sanders dropped out that was very Donald Trump-esque. Okay, so there was a tweet shared about it. We talked about it on the show earlier this week, but this is a good summary. Less than an hour after Bernie Sanders said he was ending his campaign, dozens of staffers who worked for Hillary Clinton 4 years ago received a link to a Zoom video call scheduled for 4 p.m. And the title was Invitation, Bye Bye Bernard, Hillary for America Celebration Toast. So it's not just random people. These are actual operatives, Democratic operatives, people who worked as staffers for Hillary Clinton's campaign, people who worked for Hillary for America, clearly. I mean, they think this type of behavior is totally fine when they get to engage in it. But if they see random private citizens on any social media platform saying something they don't like, they will weaponize it against the candidate that they support.
Could you imagine if Bernie Sanders staffers got together in a celebratory party when Hillary Clinton lost?
Can you imagine hating someone simply because they want to make sure that people don't die due to a lack of health care? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine hating someone because he wants to cancel all student loan debt? Can you imagine hating someone who believes that housing should not be some privilege, but should be given to everyone, regardless of their financial situation? Can you imagine hating that person? I can't. I can't. But the vast majority of Democratic operatives can. They despise Bernie Sanders more than they despise Donald Trump. And that says something.
So for those Hillary Clinton staffers, that Zoom call, oof, is power ranking #1 for call I'd like the most is Zoom bomb. Okay. And if I got into that middle of that call, I was like, hey guys, how you doing? It's Cenk Uygur. They're like, I'm like, by the way, I just got on here to say that you guys are all losers. You all collectively are the ones that lost to Donald Trump with an average IQ. I mean, his IQ is lower than 70. So what's yours? It's got to be
dumbest president of all time, and they lost to him.
You guys lost to the dumbest person who's ever run for office. So I'm doing a Zoom call with progressives, celebrating how stupid you guys are and how you're the worst political operatives, consultants, lobbyists in the history of America. By the way, I said something along those lines on social media, and of course, what was the reaction from the Biden bros and the Hillary, whatever they are? They're like, Cenk, you are so rude. They got together to do a call to celebrate that Bernie Sanders lost in a race they're not even in. But the mainstream media and the establishment is so blind, so biased that they're like, oh, them celebrating his loss is perfectly great and no problem at all. But you criticizing them, it's so uncivil. It's this guy, no civility, you know? I can't believe how petty he is. They just can't see straight, man. So Brianna, Nina Turner, David Sirota, all you guys, go get him, man. So we got all the under 45-year-olds. Their days are numbered. Let them enjoy their Zoom calls where they all high five. We're the worst, right? But somebody else other than us lost. Oh, we're so happy. Okay, enjoy that while it lasts.
Well, let's move on to a real political expert. We're really lucky to have her expert political analysis here, Meghan McCain. So, Meghan McCain is Meghan McCaining. That's what she was hired at The View to do, to share incredibly ignorant viewpoints and to trash the very politicians that would significantly improve your life. Let's go to our clip featuring Meghan McCain talking to a very goofy-looking Pete Buttigieg.
Hello, Mayor Pete. It's Meghan. You're being very gracious about Senator Sanders, and I understand that. But his supporters are notoriously difficult and notoriously fickle. We were talking about earlier on in the show about how 12% of his supporters last time ended up voting for President Trump. President Trump yesterday was tweeting that the DNC has fixed this and rigged it so Bernie would lose, and he invited Bernie supporters to support him instead. His supporters are, and I think we talked about this at length when you were on the show, there were no Pete bros attacking me anytime I was critical of you. But anytime any woman goes on TV and says anything about Bernie Sanders, we are viciously and misogynistically attacked as a result. And I think there's a question of history repeating itself with the Bernie Bros supporters. You seem to have faith, because you just spoke with Senator Sanders, that his supporters will come on board to Joe Biden. But how do you think you can stop history from repeating itself in this lane?
Okay, so let me just note that, and she probably knows this because her father was involved. While supposedly 12% of Bernie Sanders supporters ended up voting for Trump, 24% of Hillary Clinton supporters ended up voting for John McCain as opposed to Barack Obama. So that statistic is never brought up in these discussions about, you know, Sanders supporters voting for Trump. It never gets brought up, ever. But just something to bring up. And then one other thing is, Is Meghan McCain ever able to ask a question without reading a script that's been pre-written for her? Like, I actually don't know if it makes any sense to go after her, because clearly she's not like thinking for herself. She's reading something that was written for her by one of the producers. So like, hey, producers at The View, okay? Do you guys read anything, or do you just regurgitate talking points that were handed to you from like the Pelosi camp or the Hillary camp or the Biden camp? Like, just do a little bit of research, just a little bit, okay? Because Ron Burgundy will read whatever you put in the prompter. So stop doing your host dirty because you're making them look stupid, and maybe include some statistics that give them a fuller picture of what's really happening in the country and with these elections.
I've only ever seen one mainstream media reporter give the fact that Hillary Clinton supporters voted for John McCain at twice the rate of Bernie Sanders supporters going and not voting for Hillary Clinton. And it was Christopher Ingram at the Washington Post. Every other reporter, every other host on television always says Bernie Sanders supporters, 12% of them went over and voted against Hillary Clinton. And none of them ever give you the context. At a best case scenario, everyone on TV is incredibly ignorant. And their job is to analyze news and talk about the news. But they state it as if it was like a record number of people who crossed over who were Bernie Sanders supporters. When in reality, Bernie, by doing 39 rallies for Hillary Clinton, brought that number down to a very low number when you look at the context of what normally happens in elections. Yet no one ever got that memo, because unless you watch the Young Turks or you happen to read Chris Ingram's column in the Washington Post on that one day, you never would have known that. Instead, what you would have known is the exact opposite. The lies of Meghan McCain, and honestly, it's not just her, everyone on TV telling you that Bernie Sanders supporters betrayed the Democratic Party. By the way, that propaganda is so thorough that almost everyone I know believes it. Like, really smart people that I know, they have internalized that. And if you tell them the real numbers, they don't believe it. You show them a Washington Post column, they then go, oh, okay, I guess that's true. And the very next day, because they've been programmed by everyone on TV and everyone who's ever written about it, the next day they go back to Sanders betrayed us. He better not do that again with Biden. So
let me answer the question that Meghan McCain had. Okay, I know that Buttigieg answered it, but Buttigieg never says anything, even though he sounds like he's saying something. So let me go ahead and actually answer the question. The reason why there's no such thing as Buttigieg bros is because he wasn't that popular. He didn't have a giant supportive base of voters. And secondly, there are people who support him who are rude, who say abusive things online. And Bernie supporters are adults, and so they don't weaponize that against Buttigieg. They focus on what Buttigieg had to offer when he was running, which was dick. He offered nothing. He said nothing. His proposals were nothing. His candidacy was nothing. That's why you don't see harassment from so-called Buttigieg bros, because they don't exist, because he wasn't that popular in the first place. And the small amount who do exist, we don't make a big deal about it. We move on because we're adults. That's it. That's all it is. That's the answer.
So
I mean, that's why you needed. That's why the Democratic establishment needed Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, all these people to drop out and immediately endorse Biden prior to Super Tuesday, because they needed all hands on deck. They needed Clyburn to come in and do that endorsement in order to get people to rally behind Biden. Biden wasn't that popular. The media didn't even think Biden had a chance. They almost treated his campaign as if it were dead, because in the early races, he was so low in the results. It was a decision by the party elites to coalesce around Biden and do whatever it takes to defeat Bernie Sanders. And they succeeded. Congratulations. But Buttigieg on his own is not a popular candidate.
Yeah. So he did well in Iowa. So people will say, well, what do you mean he was popular in Iowa? Well, no. As Bloomberg's support showed, sometimes you can get good poll numbers, as Bloomberg did by spending $500 million in advertising. And Buttigieg spent a ton of money advertising, but only in Iowa and some in New Hampshire as well. So he concentrated all of his money, because he didn't have as much as Bloomberg, into Iowa, and he put a ton of staff and time and energy there. So it inflated his numbers, and he did a good job with it, right? But as you saw with both Buttigieg past Iowa and Bloomberg overall, that support was not deep. So the minute Warren shredded Bloomberg in the debates, his numbers dropped like a rock, because they weren't really enthusiastic about Bloomberg. They'd just seen an ad. They weren't real supporters of Buttigieg. They'd seen an ad, or they'd seen a supporter in Iowa somewhere. They'd seen him in a steak fry. Whereas the Bernie Sanders supporters believe in the ideology. They believe in the policies and the proposals. So even if you took Bernie away, they'd still believe the same things. That's why they're more passionate. But in terms of being rude, a friend of mine was just talking to me yesterday and said, I once went in your Twitter mentions and I had to just leave after just a couple of minutes because my face nearly melted off. He's like, how do you deal with that? Everyone from every quarter, right-wing, establishment, you name it, super toxic, right? We deal with it every day, and we don't bitch and moan and cry. You know why? Because Meghan McCain is part of the elites. You attack someone that is not an elite, they don't care at all. In fact, they encourage it. But if you even tweak an elite, someone with the last name McCain, I do declare. She's like, oh, can you believe someone was rude to me? You know, in the club, we don't allow that. And now here there are these ruffians online who dare to be rude. Well, we simply will not have it. Okay, yeah. This is why people don't like you.
Exactly. All right, I'm out of steam. I can't with any more depressing news.
Can't.
No,
You
I'm over
just
it.
can't. It's Friday. You're over it. Soon you won't have much to do. Quote Friday. Anyway. All right. So we're going back. We're obviously going back to tyt.com/go. Check in one last time. See what we're trying to get to 85,000, right? Did we get to 85,000? This is the mystery that all of America is waiting for. Boom.
Yay, we did it.
$85,783. Can I see 95,000? All right, seriously, over the weekend, if you get a chance, please, it'd be great. And on Monday, we've got a fun special thing to announce about the audience funding drive. A hero has come in. I don't want to say too much. Okay, I need you to have an excellent weekend. I need you back here Monday at 5:30 p.m. to hear the Nomi Prince interview about what the Federal Reserve is doing with our money. Okay, and that's all. Anna, I'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
God, I'm in charge of everything and it is distracting.
You're doing wonderfully. Is it working?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Great.
Hi, everyone. As
Hi.
you can see from the pre-made chyrons, I'm Brett Ehrlich, and this...
I'm married to him. What's my Chiron say? Brett's
it says
wife?
Brett, it's right here on the screen. It says Brett's wife, prisoner of love?
Question mark?
Oh my God. You've been a prisoner of love since we started this epic journey to bring Happy Half Hour back from the brink of coronavirus-induced mortem.
Yes. It's been awful.
Today was the worst day of my life.
It was so bad.
Both of us have lost fathers, but today trying to work up the ability to make this show happen was the worst day of my life, which made it the worst day of her life.
It was really bad, yeah. It's partially my fault because I said it'd be funny if we self-isolated and I was in this room and then you were out there at the Mac that's in the dining room.
Great concept.
Great idea. But I also doubted that it was going to work on the Mac, but you seemed pretty confident.
No, brilliant
which I realized
concept.
was unfounded. Like, you had no reason to be that confident because
So-
it didn't work.
So she is responsible in no small part for the fact that TYT was able to seamlessly go from being in the studio on a Thursday the 19th and then being on your television and whatever device you watch it on the 20th. So
it was all me.
It was
You
her,
had nothing to do with it.
me, Shekels, and Johnny. So Johnny Greenwald and Mike Shekels from the TY team. Huh?
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
On the phone here. This is the room from which...
This is Command Central. Is that the word?
And this computer is where we actually switch the Young Turks from every single day. Which means I get to stay in this onesie for days.
And actually, you're oftentimes more drunk for the main show than you are for this show.
There is literally a beer on the desk. There's a lot of things to be happy about. We're happy about our members who make this possible. We're happy about all the people at TYT who are working remotely to make this happen. We figured this part out, but post-production team and everybody else has made it happen. I want to thank you for watching the Viral Video Film School specials we aired for the last 2 weeks.
That was fun.
Yeah, it brought me back to life a little bit. So thank you for that. But I want to personally talk about the biggest news of the year, probably, for me, not coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's John Krasinski's new show, that son of a bitch.
God.
For years now, I've been wondering, why is there not a news show dedicated entirely to good news?
First of all, fuck you, John Krasinski.
Fuck you, John Krasinski.
Oh, when I saw this, I sent this to you. I don't know if you had seen it yet.
You did send it to me.
I did.
Hey, asshole! I just here. This is Meredith from The Office, your show. And she has been on this show, a show about good news and good booze. What the hell, man?
Well, did you notice the tweet that Happy Half Hour sent out right before?
Oh, this one? Oh,
because we haven't talked about this.
This tweet? Where
mentioning
Alex,
his name, and then 2 days later he tweets out, "Hey."
So, all right, first of all, your central premise is fucking bullshit. Jonathan.
Drag him.
I'm gonna drag him. Okay. Now, his show is he's gonna explain to you. He said it's a show about good things, good news that's happening. Obviously, in a time of coronavirus, and everybody's like apart together. Fine, but here he is, and I want to explain what really rubs me the wrong way about this.
And what a week for good news it was. Because yes, without question, we are all going through an incredibly trying time. But through all the anxiety, through all the confusion, all the isolation, and all the Tiger King, somehow the human spirit still found a way to break through and blow us all away. Nowhere was that seen more powerfully than in the heroism of the global healthcare community.
Gag me.
I hate it. I hate it so much. First of all, Tiger King is a national treasure. He said that was a bad thing, that Tiger King exists? Excuse you. I'm not even gonna lie. He was my number 1 on my eliminated list. He got bumped for Gosling after this. I was already thinking about
I feel
it.
like that happened a while ago.
No, I was thinking about it, but he's gone now. Good job. The thing is that not only do you have a show like this, and again, he stole your face, and now your show, but there's other good news segments on things. He acts like he's the first one that's ever thought of this.
Yes, there's a huge problem with you, John, whom I, until this moment, really wanted to, like, invite and be like, hey, here's a playful tweet where we're, like, reaching out to you.
But the offer's still open, though.
The offer is still open. One time I was at a wedding, and this woman came up to me and was like, you remind me of my son's roommate from college. And I was like, oh, that's random. She's like, he's on a TV show. And I was like, what? The Office? It just started. She was actually really nice, but like, come on.
Yeah, you get it a lot.
You know?
Mm-hmm. We were on a plane once. We're going over time on this, but we were on a plane once, and the lady was a nervous flyer, and she told me about it. And she's like, but it's okay, because I saw John Krasinski was on this flight. And he was up and I was like, oh, that's my husband.
Sorry.
So I just ruined it for her. For some reason, the fact that John Krasinski was on the flight to her meant that they were going to survive it,
Yeah,
this was a pre-Kobe world.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I just crushed that. I was like, no, not John Krasinski. That's my husband.
Yeah, here's the thing, John. Did you color that or did your kids? Did you actually color the sign or did your kids do it? Because either you did it pretending to be your kids, or your kids drew it and they draw dicks. They draw dicks, John. Sorry, Hazel draws dicks.
If they drew that, I mean, it's kind of good. There's shading involved. Like, look at the N. The N has depth.
I just want to also say that Hazel is a family name. His kid's name is Hazel. Huh?
That's on the table for what we're going to name a child of ours.
My grandfather, when he wanted to say, let's leave, my great-grandfather, to his wife, he would go, let's go, Hazel. And this asshole stole it. I do want to say, like...
Wow, we're really mad today about John Krasinski.
Got really bad. And so, but that's the thing, is he did this whole thing with, like, Lin-Manuel Miranda. He talks about Tiger King. I get it. And everyone lifts it up. But does that make you happy? Like,
does what make you happy?
The stories he covers.
I didn't get past the intro. I was so filled with rage when he said there's no other show that's about good news that I just... closed out and sent it to you.
But like,
I was like, I've seen enough.
In times like coronavirus, there's a lot of people who are like sharing these things that are supposed to cheer you up.
Yeah.
But they don't cheer me up. And you know what doesn't cheer me up? People who are acting in a way that makes it very clear to me they're just trying to cheer me up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of a weird start to a show that's about good news.
No, this show isn't about good news. This show is about amazing things.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a segment called Bears. They're just...
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's about charity and stuff.
Like, it is about charity sometimes. But, like, listen, people are passing this around. This is a clip of people in Italy singing back and forth to each other, and it's supposed to be super endearing. Watch. So, they're supposed to be like singing to each other, and I hate that. If that was happening outside my window, I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
But we've been to Italy before. Everyone's drunk, like day drunk, and a jam session, and you know how many instruments you have.
Yeah,
you would join in whether they asked you to or not.
Right,
just be twerk teaming out of the thing. I think it'd be fun, for an amount of time.
Yeah, okay. Well, you've turned me around.
Okay.
You turned me around, but like that's what I need you here for, is to make me feel like good about stuff when like I get frustrated.
It would be fun. Like in small doses. It'd be fun for as long as the clip lasted.
That's what I mean. But like in Silver Lake, people are coming. It's like 7 p.m. and people go out the window. Sarah Silverman posing, like people bang pots and pans to thank healthcare workers, and it's like, let's do it for 2 seconds, everybody back in, and let's do it once.
Yeah.
The effect that people are doing this at all, really inspiring. Let's not beat it to death every day at 7:30 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about noise, though. Like, it's cool if you're into it, but if you're not, then it's the worst thing. Like, we have big block parties on the street. We used to, at least. Mm-hmm. And if you weren't a part of that party and you didn't want to be there, that's the worst fucking... It's like playing cornhole, you know? If you're not involved, you're pissed at the... So I think that goes with anything, but
All right.
I guess in small doses. But I think that'd be cool if we were in Italy and we just be part of a balcony jam sesh.
I don't know. I'm glad you're here to cheer me up. I had this whole bit where it was like everything I loved is sick and depraved, but I really like it right there. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll show you the things that are sick and depraved. So how's that for a tease? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Happy Half Hour. What a great experience this is to be together right now. We don't have a lot of, I promise you things that are sick and depraved. Would you like to see some things that are so bad they're good? A lot of people are coping with coronavirus, and I don't really gravitate toward those like truly heartwarming stories of people overcoming adversity. Like that, you seem to be more on the side of people who are like, oh, I like the singing outside on the balcony. So
Within reason, yes.
Within reason. I actually actively hate those stories in a very bitter and resentful way. I don't know why. Probably based in jealousy of John Krasinski. I will say this. There are some people who were supposed to get married during coronavirus, and it didn't work out so well, which is so bad. It's good. Someone put on Reddit, wedding was canceled due to COVID. I've been on hold, and here's a photo of it, with the Capital One Travel for 7 hours trying to cancel the honeymoon hotel. 7 hours on hold.
Oh, because they had to go through their credit card because they booked it with miles?
Yep.
Oh my
god, that's so great.
That is crazy. You would think there'd be some sort of like auto processing for that online, given the circumstance. Like they know everything between this date and this date are just going to be auto canceled.
Yeah.
I think they would have some kind of web portal that would do it.
Yeah, but alas, it apparently took 7 hours to do so.
Wow.
Another group has a good spirit about them, was supposed to get married today. We still wore our rings.
Oh, cute.
But I like that she's like up yours. It's her ring finger, but it looks like she's flipping people off. But
I mean, honestly, this is kind of a blessing in disguise, if you ask me. Sorry, do you have something else to say?
No, I don't.
I think it's a blessing in disguise because some of these people might not actually have a ceremony. They might just be like, oh, well, we're already married, like those people with the rings. I mean, we are people that we didn't have a big wedding, and I think that's the way to go.
I
And
agree.
Some of these people, if they're able to get their money back,
It isn't like just my conclusion that we did it better.
No.
It's other people come up to us and go like, wait a minute, you just ran off to Vegas.
I mean, not to brag or anything, but we're the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some of these people now are gonna be like, screw it, like let's just take some photos and get married at the courthouse and
Just
whatever.
do that.
Yeah.
There should be, there's drive-through chapels. You should do that.
Save your money.
This is my favorite, though, of the Reddit things I found. Not sure if I should be proud or concerned. My daughter just said, he's got the Rona, and started making a coffin. These are
Oh my god, I gotta lean in and
see.
see. Oh my god, that's a really big coffin.
Oh my god.
I mean, she gets a D for spatial reasoning, but an A for
Homicidal
Yeah.
tendencies. There's another, but you see, I get toward the people who are so depraved that they either are so depressed and there's a humor in that, or the kid even is like, I'm gonna put my brother in a coffin.
Yeah. Well, it's a doll, isn't it? It's a doll.
No, that's her freaking
Oh my
bro.
god, is it?
She put her bro. I don't know if they make a,
Oh my God.
doll that does the sign of the
Oh, I
beast.
thought it was like a doll arm, stuck up there.
You want to say it's an impressive doll, but any doll that's that realistic is absolutely
Oh, that's
terrifying.
hilarious. That's a person.
All right, so there's another thing. It's another version of something that I find really exciting, and it's bears. They're just like us.
Oh yeah.
Here goes.
Hey. Nice.
Nice. So bears, they are just like us. I'm gonna go again. Hopefully I didn't.
Wait, you did a Bears Just Like Us when I was on the show the first time.
Really? It was
Yeah,
you?
it was the bear in the hot tub.
I was just going through everything on our
That's me.
server, being what's already made.
Okay.
Okay, so bears, they're just like us. This is the story of two bears in a zoo in Hong Kong, two panda bears that weren't going to have a do in it sesh in the near future, according to all experts in the area. But they started mating Good for them. According to Michael Booz at the zoo, since Ying Ying and Lei Lei's arrival in Hong Kong in 2007 and attempts natural mating since 2010, they unfortunately have yet to succeed until this year. Extremely exciting for all of us. Pandas are a traditionally terrible mater, and here's my favorite quote from something about pandas. Male giant pandas are bad at working out when female is likely to welcome their advances and bad at knowing what to do next if they do happen to stumble upon a willing mate, like me in high school. In the unlikely event that they get around to having sex, they're often too quick about the whole business to get the female pregnant.
Wait,
that's like my life. Sorry, stop moving. It was your fault.
So they just like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think about the science of what that means.
Oh, you're basically saying you want to see what it looks like when pandas have sex?
Thank you.
All right, let's see if we can see what it looks like when pandas have sex. I'm going to get a little... I don't know if we're not going to be able to hear it, but...
That's fine, I can put it...
It's like a... Let me see if I can bring it up and make
No, this is fine. This seems like it's going on.
Yeah, I think you should hear what it's like when pandas have sex.
Oh! She's just like...
But at the end, they always fight. At the end, they always fight. She's like, okay, cool. Good job. All right, now get the hell off of me, you son of a bitch.
She's like, I'll bite your balls off.
The traditionally docile panda.
See, for you and me, we usually fight before we do it. You know what I mean?
Not in front of our friends.
Just kidding. We don't do that.
But we do. We do. No, we don't. Actually, it's usually like, hey, you down? And then confetti just shows up out of nowhere. I should take a break right now because I don't think this is making me more sexually alluring to my wife at all. Thank you for watching these two segments. We got one more. We'll be right back. Had too much to drink and shouldn't have had the edible as well.
You need to drink more. My
Are
problem
you
with the show
serious?
is that people aren't drunk enough. I mean, on camera. Oh, whatever.
Oh, Christ. Hi, welcome back. I hit the wrong button.
We're still on the panda sex, I see.
Who isn't on the panda sex? Missed that one the first
Moving
time through.
on.
All right. God, this is a nightmare. But I love ya.
Yeah.
Also, we've been drinking from the bottle and an edible. People have asked for that for a long time. I want to do appetizing or crapatizing. Is that okay?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Doesn't
This is
apply.
usually a John-specific segment, I've noticed.
Oh, eat farts. Nothing's a John-specific segment.
You've done 2 of these with him, and that's the only time I've ever seen it. So go ahead.
I couldn't find the new intro, Alex, by the way. Okay, appetizing or crapatizing. It's more of what do you think about this? A medical fetish site donates entire stock of scrubs after being contacted by desperate health officials. In the UK, there is a company called MedFet UK. It is a medical fetish site, and they tweeted, "Today we donated our entire stock of disposable scrubs to an NHS, UK, so it's National Health Service Hospital. It was just a few sets because we don't carry large stocks, but we were desperate, so we sent them free of charge. We usually don't do politics on Twitter, but here's a short thread. When we, a tiny company set up to serve a small section of the kink community, find ourselves being sought out as a last resort supplier for National Health Service at a time of crisis, something is seriously wrong. In fact, it's scandalous."
Wow.
And then we love it, and our nipples just get hard. So when it's all over, and the doctors, the nurses, and the staff have done an amazing job, let's not forget or forgive the ones who sent the NHS into this battle with inadequate armor and one head tied behind its back. So
kinky.
So
like all of
kinky.
that. Like one hand tied behind. Yeah, so this is what I'm picturing. Is that actually an outfit? Because I'm picturing like latex sexy nurse outfits and like ball gag face masks and stuff.
Say it to the camera. Ball gag face
Ball
masks.
gag face masks.
Ball gag face masks.
Built-in ball gags.
It's just like ways like you see drama kids get ready for a performance.
Butt
Built
plug
in
thermometer.
butt plug ball gags. Butt plug ball gags. Anyway, so here is the kind of thing. I was wondering, like, what do they sell or promote? They retweeted this from someone else, the Terramedic. I've got the cure-all for ball ache, and I will give you the dosing of a lifetime. Disclaimer, this is a rectal medicine. She's got keys around her neck. I don't get that. It's not just like sexy nurse outfits. They literally tweet this. Still in stock and ready for immediate dispatch. Disposable skin staplers.
Yeah, people are wild.
Standard and large staple versions available. I would like to be like, oh God, I started with standard, but it's not enough anymore. I need large staples.
I mean, yeah, if this is like your kink, if like doctor nurse playtime stuff is your kink, like you don't want to be pulled from your immersion. You don't want like beep boop beep boop make believe stitches. You want to get stapled.
Have you ever been? I got stapled once.
Yeah, I've stapled through my thumb once on accident, but I was a child.
I was a grown up and got medical staples.
Yeah, no, I've gotten stitches. You were there.
Oh, I do. You
We were
did
on
the
a cruise
worm
ship.
on a cruise.
Yeah.
Don't go on cruises. Rule 158.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to watch. Members get an entire thing. Follow us HHH on TYT. Members get the extended version, which is the best thing ever of the week, featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yay.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to get the VOD and follow us HHH on TYT. Thank my wife. Please. Thank my wife.
No.
We out.
Bye.
Okay. And we're just going to do as long as it takes. Hey everybody, it's me and my wife. It's time for the best thing ever of the week. I don't know where it is.
Let's do it.
You want to do it, right?
Let's do it.
Okay, good, because now I found it and we're going to do it.
I love that sound effect.
The poop sound? You want to hear it again? Oh,
Just
God.
a hot, wet dump.
And we got gamer headsets, so
Yeah.
like, we can hear it
Yeah.
all the way. You might be wondering what the best thing ever of the week as I sit here with my wife, the lovely and talented unicorn lady.
Thank you.
We are the best couple at TYT. John and Arlene
suck.
They're delightful people, but just monsters.
Just awful.
These two love dogs.
We're
you wanna-
happy.
Do you want to come over to our house at a time when it's safe to do so? We'll cook you lunch and dinner and be good hosts.
Yeah. Board games.
Yeah, there's no parking on our street, but whatever.
They're terrible.
Christian and Anna.
Even worse.
Oh, Christian, it's impossible not to like that
I'm
guy.
gonna be all extra good-looking couple. I'm Anna and Christian.
Yeah. Oh, God, we're gorgeous.
Oh, look at us dance really well, too, you sons of bitches.
That's where I do feel a sense of superiority, is when it's like, no, I didn't take time to learn to dance. I do what my body tells me
They're
to do.
way better dancers
They're
than
so good
us.
at it.
I know you're doing a bit here, but
They do that thing, where you just like, there's a certain beginning where it's like, oh God, they could go for 2 hours. I'm like 5 minutes out there going like, all right, I need
you
a
and I
break.
are just like fishing, luring us. It's awful.
We have a special thing where I kick you in the vagina and you go.
It's true. Anyways,
Best thing ever of the week is we'll cut that whole part out. That's for producer level members. Best thing ever of the week is Arnold Schwarzenegger, former governor of California, and he has been giving people advice on how to beat coronavirus by not going out and doing things in public.
oh yes.
And he's been uploading a series of videos on his Twitter handle @Schwarzenegger. And if you're wondering what it looks like and how many animals there are in it, here you go.
Here I am at home, taking a jacuzzi, smoking a little stogie. I just finished a bike ride and a little bit of workout. and I just, keep staying at home and away from the crowds and away from outside. The reason why I'm saying that is because I still see photographs and videos of people sitting in outside cafes all over the world and having a good time and hanging out in crowds. That is not wise, because that's how you can get the virus.
I would never in a million years, if you asked me what kind of dog does Arnold have, say a Yorkie with a plaid bow. Little.
Do you know what other animals he has?
No, no.
Because it's not just that. I do have to say, though, like, it is such good advice that he's giving you.
I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at the Yorkie drinking Arnold's soup.
It is impossible to take it seriously.
Also, half the time I was thinking, why didn't he just get @Arnold for Twitter? Why did he go with the name that no one can spell?
At Schwarzenegger.
You get to like SCH.
Because he was late to the game, man.
But it's him, you could get Arnold.
Whoever's @Arnold is like, no.
We should find out who Arnold is. Let's put that right here. Bink. Wait, what's your guess? I'm gonna guess Arnold
Palmer. I bet it's just some dude named Arnold. I'm gonna look it up.
No, I think it's Arnold. Who's the other one? The other actor.
No, it's
Who the hell is this guy?
Just some dude named Arnold.
He's a data engineer.
What? Oh, it's a window capture.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh, Arnold!
It's just a data engineer
He plays
named
StarCraft.
Arnold. It is, though, because you can tell he's digitally native. He's got 700, and he retweets Dan Rather.
I'm sorry for this segue, but I feel like Arnold would be susceptible to a buyout.
I don't know. He looks like he laughs in the face of danger. I'm Arnold from Santa Monica. I've been here since 06,
I'm sorry,
bitch.
Arnold. You're doing great.
All right, there we go.
All right.
So that's that. But he continues. There's as I said, it's a series of things that he is uploading. Here is the second one. And I just want to say, Arnold's home alone, and it's not just a dog.
Come on. See, the important thing is
in the house.
You stay at home because there's a curfew now. Okay, no one is allowed out, especially someone that is like 72 years old. After you're 65, you're not allowed at the house anymore in California. So we stay home and we eat here, right? Oh yes, that's yummy. I eat with the whiskey, and there's Lulu.
So those are his kids, Whiskey and Lulu.
Perfect. First of all, that's not true that you're not allowed out of the house after age 65, because I was at the grocery store the other day, and there are plenty of
there's plenty
out there. What are we doing here?
I don't know. I'm setting things up. You're supposed to just keep talking. You're supposed to keep it going.
I got distracted, and you looked concerned. I thought we'd broken down completely.
I just wanted to, because at some point I want to show everyone, like I want to comment on it over our shoulder, so I had to go set it up.
Oh. Okay.
So Arnold has Whiskey and Lulu are his two donkeys, and he spends a lot of time.
But why are they in the house?
I don't know. Because they're slightly bigger than dogs. There's dogs that are bigger than that.
They're way bigger than dogs.
I don't know. One thing I noticed about Arnold is he spends most of his time with his two donkeys making porn sounds.
No.
I don't know. You tell me.
Look at that beautiful smile she has. Huh? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, little yummies, huh?
Little
what
yummies,
is the thing he said? Little yummies?
Little yummies,
Oh, God.
Oh, yes.
Yes, again, he is giving great advice under super distracting circumstances.
I'd be kind of disappointed in Arnold if he didn't do that. If he didn't have some kind of weird pet.
Really?
Like, I feel like there's no way that Sylvester Stallone doesn't own at least two, like, tigers.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are German people known for being...
He's Austrian, first of all.
I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm going to leave. You're right.
Please do.
Thank you.
When you come back, you can enjoy the part where he shows the animal who's alpha.
Oh, let's see.
I have you in my neck. Yeah, Whiskey. And you, I have you too. I have all of you. Look at this picture here. Yeah. No biting. Okay, we got to get along. Because we're in very small quarters with a very small house here.
Your former governor just
Oh
spent a
my
lot of
God,
time
it's the best.
strangling.
It's just like sometimes I would get a little bit too drunk and like fluff up the cat a little too much and like do weird stuff with him around guests when they were over for game night, and this reminds me of that, where you're just like, ah, everything's fine, no biting.
What is it? What is the House of Schwarzenegger like? I would like to say that also it's like way more like pastoral, like country cottage.
Yeah,
than I'd
he's
expect
got little knickknacks and stuff. I didn't picture that. I don't know what I pictured, but one of those is a donkey, and one of them is something else. Yeah, like what's that one?
No, I just
that
think
one's a mini horse.
I think that's Lulu. Lulu
No,
has
that's Whiskey.
Whiskey has amazing hair.
Lulu's
I
a
prefer Lulu.
Those are two different animals.
Those are two different kinds of donkeys.
No, I think that's a mini horse. I don't
Oh
know.
my God.
Somebody.
One's like a mule.
Leave your comments below on this. Let's start a poll.
Oh my God.
He's
It's
living such a
positively-
better quarantine than we are.
He
But I
really
think that's
is.
to be expected. Yeah.
The thing about Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's telling you how to behave during a time of coronavirus at your house is he also teaches not just humans to wash hands, but dogs to wash hands.
You see here? Look at this, Jerry. This is how you wash your hands. Then you put a little bit on it. No, just watch this. You put this on, okay? And then
That
you
water's
wash it
really
very,
hot.
very clean. Okay? Jerry, watch this.
No.
Jump.
You see?
Jump.
Look at this.
What's wrong with you?
I go like this, then I go up like that. Okay? And then you go here, and here, then you wash your thumbs. And then you go, exactly. That's how we wash the hands, okay?
This dude lied to me, by the way, because like he talked about how his house is small, but I just saw like the second wing of it.
Who lied to you?
Schwarzenegger.
Don't call him this dude. What's wrong with you?
Sorry,
Have some
this
respect.
governor.
When did he tell you the size of his house?
Just a second ago, when we were marveling at the fact that he was strangling two.
He said that his house was small?
You don't know anything.
Like what I said, I was not listening to him at all. I was just looking.
You, and I have you in my neck. Mwah. Yeah, Misky. And you, I have you too. Now I have both of you. Look at this picture here. Yeah. No biting. Okay, you got to get along. Because we're in very small quarters. We have a very small house here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I stand corrected. That just goes to show I literally wasn't listening to him. I was just looking at him strangle holding those.
There's a lot of distracting things happening there, and though, and it's interesting because in the world around us, a lot is shut down, and so it's a ghost town. But that's just my opinion of it. Arnold went out in the public to one of the most highly foot trafficked outdoor malls in the world, the Santa Monica 3rd Street Promenade. And here's what he looks like on a bike.
Well, it's Friday morning, 10 o'clock, and there's absolutely no one around here at Santa Monica Mall. So that means that all of you are doing a great job. Thank you for staying at home. Thank you for keeping us safe. Hasta la vista.
He's turned into one of those like volunteer street vigilantes.
I got literally
Looks
nothing
good.
else to do.
He's like got like an old t-shirt mask put on, like you've.
So who's shooting the videos? Like, is it Maria Shriver being like, okay, go ahead. I'm a Kennedy. No, but go ahead and strangle the donkeys. Does she live there? Yeah, you fucked someone and got someone pregnant
It was
here.
the maid, right?
It's her. It's his kid. I think it's his daughter.
Yeah, maybe.
They're all together. I used to live
Also-
in Brentwood, and I'd see that guy. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What is wrong with you?
When you live in his neighborhood,
Oh,
you call
see
him that guy.
It's Arnold.
I'd see the governor when he was the governor. Maybe
Great.
not anymore. But I would see him. He had a Hummer. And he would, like, literally, like, run and jump
Yeah,
and
he
just
also got a
land in
Hummer
it.
from the maid. You know what I mean?
been in the same house since March 19th.
Oh, crap.
How many days is that? Alexa, how long has it been since March 19th? Alexa, how many days has it been since March 19th, 2020?
Just pull up a
Alexa, stop.
20 days ago.
20 days ago. Hang on, I'll be right back. Hang on. Yeah? Oh, never mind. 20 days in one house. Thank you for watching the Happy Half Hour.
Apologize to John Krasinski.
Don't. It's his fault.
I feel bad.
Yeah, probably just steal my apology from me. Bye.